What's up? It's Ryan55 here, and today I'm hopping into this classic challenge, trying to win my first classic challenge with what I think is probably the best deck to do it with, the deck I've had the most luck with so far. And I actually got 8 wins. It was on my alls, but yeah, I mean, I've only gotten like 6 previously, so this deck is definitely pretty good. But I know I made a video recently to this if you watched, but it was with log bait. I think this is just the best deck overall. And that was kind of an awkward defense there. My whole queen just pretty much died. I should have just like fireballed or something. It was an awkward hand though, to be fair. I try to get my queen ability off, but he has Mega Knight here, unfortunately, which counters my drill pretty well. And then I see the skeleton barrel, and I pretty much know it's the pretty meta relevant deck right now. The Mega Knight bait deck that has skeleton barrel, bats, Skarmy. I didn't know like the exact cards, but I had seen the deck before. I kind of place the skeletons off to the side there so the Mega Knight doesn't kill them and they'll distract the Inferno. And that's a really good zap right there by our opponent to redirect our tower onto the miner to tank for the Inferno, which would have taken my whole tower if not defended. And yeah, I thought the Fire Spirit might kill there, but it didn't, so I had to go with the Queen too. Luckily, like all the cards in this deck are so good on the counter push. I forgot about the Skarmy there. I didn't really realize exactly what the deck was, like I was saying in this commentary at the time. I mean, I knew the deck, I didn't realize it had Skarmy, so we kind of get shut down there for not the greatest trade there. We're definitely down Elixir at this point, and he's just kind of playing pretty aggressive. And I also have to spend my log here, so not the greatest so far. I mean, I do go with a Fire Spirit pretty aggressively, knowing he doesn't really have anything good, and it forces out the zap there. So, catches us up a little bit on Elixir here. I'm kind of just expecting a Mega Knight. So, yeah, I mean, in this matchup, kind of just trying to get them to use their Mega Knight offensively, going in for drills, predicting, like, the Skarmy with, like, Skarmy and the bats with, like, fireballs, log, and all sorts of things like that. Here, I'm kind of, like, hovering my fireball, but he has Mega Knight in hand, so doesn't really do a ton for us there, but just trying to pressure a little bit. I'm kind of thinking he might go eye drag right there early for the giant skelly, which is why I'm hovering that queen. And yeah, here I just go skellies behind to DPS and kind of predicting the Inferno. It doesn't come down. He does have Skelly King in this deck as well. Then we get a pretty good Fire Spirit down there and use the giant skelly to tank for that drill a little bit. I think he gets a bit of chip there, even with the Skarmy coming down. And what I should be doing is holding my log so I can pre-log the Skarmy, but, you know, it is what it is. I can go with it behind the tower a lot of times anyway, so it doesn't really work. So I kind of just go with the cannon. Just defending the Mega Knight. Because always kind of having the giant skelly in hand for the Mega Knight. Because I guess I probably could have gone for the King Tower activation with the Skelly's Spirit. I've shown that off in another video if you're not sure what I'm talking about. I have a short on my channel if you want to see that, where you can actually go Skellies in the middle and then a Spirit on the corner of the tower, and then you can activate King versus Mega Knight. And yeah, he's just being super aggressive here, like a lot of these guys do. We get a pretty good Fire Spirit off there. Miss a couple of the bats, but I probably shouldn't have taken all that chip damage. I also have to kite the lava or the Inferno drag kind of awkwardly to the opposite lane. And then he does go with a weird zap there. I don't know, like trying to just like get the Inferno onto the tower. We do hit some of the skellies with the pre-log there. But that was a weird zap, so that kind of helped me out there because I feel like I was in a pretty tough spot. A good Fire Spirit here to splash onto the bats. And then that Mega Knight will die to the giant Skelly Bomb. We get the Skellies down to DPS down the miner. And again, another weird zap. And then and then with that weird zap, he runs out of elixir. The giant Skelly gets the tower. And I mean, the drill fireball might have came down and finished the game anyway, but that's a GG, so. But that opponent played pretty well. Without those weird zaps, he might have won. But without that zap in the beginning, too. But he did have a great zap in the beginning, but still. Fire Spirit on Fire Spirit right there. Just so great minds think alike. And both of us kind of don't really like our cycles. I'm just leaking. Eventually, I decide I'm just going to log. I don't really like logging because I just have traumatic experiences of logging first play. And then they just send, like, a barrel on me and I just have nothing. But I guess I would have had a fireball in this case. Or I'm not sure if I just got the fireball. So I might, yeah. So that's kind of what I just didn't really want to suck on my log. But eventually, I'm like, whatever. It won't be I can still win. So he just cycles the log on our queen. And yeah, I mean, this deck counter pushes so well, and then he just messes up here. That Royal Delivery comes out super late. I pop a really good ability on 1 HP, and that queen just destroys his tower. The Giant Skelly is just super good here because it'll just clog up the lane and defend. And then, I don't really know why he doesn't pop the queen ability here, but I guess to each their own. I don't really know. It's kind of run the DPS down that there. I was thinking about going for a Fire Spirit drill, but I'm 1 card off drill. You always want to like try to support your drills like a Fire Spirit. I go Queen in the middle. I wasn't really expecting the Hogs. I should have probably known that's what this deck was going to be. I was kind of like expecting it to be like Hog Rider or something. I don't really know. But I guess it would have been the same awkward scenario anyway. I have Queen in the middle. And if you're wondering what the cut is there, that guy did end up quitting right after that defense, as you could see by the 3 crowns that pop up. If you're calling cap, you blew the game, okay? You can rewind and see that like the 3 crowns pops up, saying that I 3 crowned that guy. If you slow it down a little bit, okay? So I did end up winning that game. But GG's to that guy. I just ended up cutting it out because what's the point of having that in the video? This guy pulls out a cannon cart at first play. Kind of awkward, clunky defense there. He lets my drill get a ton of damage, so that's kind of interesting. And then, I mean, I let that cannon cart lock onto my queen, which was pretty bad. And she just ends up dying. I didn't really want to pop the ability. I didn't get the skellies down in time, though, so that was pretty awkward on my end. And I mean, he just goes golem in the back really early, so that's kind of interesting. I go Fire Spirits to apply pressure. He ignores it, which he should, I guess. And then I go Giant Skelly in the back here, just because, like, Giant Skelly, they try to build up huge golem pushes. Even when the Giant Skelly dies, it will, like, blow up all the big push behind it. And I was kind of nervous by that fireball, because I thought I missed the flying machine, but I actually didn't. So, you know, that was pretty nice to hit the flying machine as well as get some chip on the golem, but it was a little bit risky. Now, with the Giant Skelly tanking, I'm pretty sure I'm going for a drill, yeah. You know, just trying to, like, utilize all that health, going for the drill. And then he has nothing really for the drill, as he just spent his whole, basically, 7 elixir on the Giant Skelly. And I'm not going to act that that Giant Skelly bomb, like, was timed perfectly, even though it looked like it, because the timing was kind of lucky, because the Giant Skelly bounced the back via Baby Drag and just kind of, yeah, hit it back there. And then I log here, so the tombstone dies, and the queen, after killing the tombstone, will actually lock onto the tower and not the skellies. So that's a really cool pro tip, like, if you ever get into this scenario. It's kind of a niche, like, interaction, but it's one that I knew and could kind of take advantage of there. So that's why I logged the tombstone, even though it didn't kill it. I knew the queen would damage down the tombstone and then lock onto the tower. That works with really any troop. So, yeah, that's a pretty good thing you can do there. That's a good interaction to know for sure. So it helped me out a lot there with a ton of queen damage. And now we kind of just have to defend, send a couple drill fireballs. And, I mean, he does kind of DPS down our cannon, so but, like, this building's just so, I mean, this deck's just so good on defense with the goblin drill just acting as a secondary building. Just, it's really clutch in some scenarios. So, yeah, and that was a pretty well-timed tombstone for him. He might have known I wanted to go in for a Fire Spirit. I don't know if he's that good, but, yeah. And then this is a great prediction right here. He's always been playing those flying machines on my cannons, so I just predict that flying machine on the cannon. That was really clean, and yeah. Subscribe for that one. You guys, if you're watching it on YouTube Shorts or just in the video, drop a like, drop a sub for that, because that was a clean prediction right there on my end. But, yeah, either way. It's just good to always, you know, recognize patterns your opponents do and just, like, start to predict them, because it can just be really good for you like that. Like, that queen got so much value, killing the flying machine, popping the ability, and then also keeping my cannon alive, which is huge. Because, yeah, those flying machines can be really pesky, but just knowing your opponent's going to do something like that, it's really good to make that prediction. And, yeah, I mean, here, just kind of setting up cannons, queen in the back. I'm just kind of defending here, honestly. Yeah, I go with a low cannon, so he can't really flying machine it. And then that's a lot of fireball value with the cannon card, the flying machine. So we'll take that for sure. And then, yeah, he goes with like a tornado. And it gets him a decent amount of damage, but nothing crazy here. We're still up a ton of damage. But it is starting to get closer, so I realize I got to start going on offense, keep the pressure up. He goes with the guards there. I go with fireball log, which might be a little bit aggressive. I thought maybe the goblin would get a stab in there. But since he has a golem, it's just a fine play to do. He should have golemed the bridge, but he just has no source of, like, direct damage. So I can just do that. I predicted that flying machine a second too late there, but it doesn't matter anyway because I can just cycle back to a fireball, and that's going to be a GG. Not a bad player, but I was just really happy how I played that one. There were some good predictions and just some super solid defense in that one. Anyway, hopping into this next game. And yes, I did take an L at one point. I just played horribly against a pretty good Hog DQ player, and I just got destroyed. So yeah, that's my bad. I noticed he wastes his dark prince. So I noticed that's a pretty good time to go in for my drill. Unfortunately, he has bomber, but we get like I think one goblin stab there, which is still pretty nice. And that queen, good defense on that dark prince, taking no hits on our queen and saving the ability as well. Pretty nice. I go with the ability here, and the Tesla goes down, and it'll take out the whole executioner, which is really nice. So we're definitely up quite a good amount of elixir now, with him wasting, 9 elixir on 6? 6 that also, with the help of Skelly's defended a dark prince. So I just log and get back to my drill. I should have fireballed there early if I had quick enough fingers, but I just didn't. And the firecracker cleans up pretty well. But the one good thing about not fireballing is we get a really nice king tower activation here with that firecracker shooting onto the king. Pretty nice, pretty nice. That's going to come in pretty big as he places down a Mega Knight. So, yeah. And then he goes to a weird tornado there, trying to get the Mega Knight to jump onto the tower. Doesn't really work out very well for him. And then I kind of panic here, place my Skellies and my Spirit in a weird spot. If I would have just placed the Spirit higher to pull it back, I wouldn't have had to waste the Skellies. So now I know I'm down elixir, but Mega Knight is his only real win condition, so I know I don't really have anything to be that fearful of. So yeah. He could drop a firecracker at the river, or executioner, yeah. Executioner is what I was thinking at the time. I just kind of forgot to cycle when I'm commentating. Yeah, so I do fireball the bomber here. It's a bit aggressive, but this is a super high-paced deck. And I mess up the fireball there, so the bomber actually finishes off my my drill from the grave, just getting a ton of value. So that's my bad there, but again, this deck is just so good defensively. It's just the defenses are so clean and easy and cheap. You can just get away with almost anything, it feels like, in some matchups. That's why I really like this deck, because it's, not to say it's no skill, but look at this fireball. I just completely missed with this fireball. And yeah, just make it some misplays, but I can still get away with them. You can see we're down a bit of elixir. I leaked a little bit there. I should have just queened the back earlier. Queen in the back. When you're not sure what to do with this deck or any queen deck, queen in the back is almost never a bad option. At least from my experience, that's never going to lose you the game. I popped the queen ability here. I didn't want the Mega Knight to pop off there. I maybe should have saved it a little bit, but it was fine, I think. And then the goblins do get a little bit of damage on the left, quite a bit of damage on the left side. But yeah, pretty clean defense overall. That executioner kind of gave me a heart attack on staying alive on 1 HP, but we're good. And then I just wanted to get that bomber off the map to drill ASAP. And then I thought we were up a bit of elixir, so I kind of queened the bridge. And he kind of just gives up, so I'm guessing I was up a bit of elixir, or he just lagged out. I'm not really sure, but either way, good game. Have it into the next one, 4-1. It's not anything fantastic, but for me, getting 4 or 5 wins consistently with only one or no losses. I just played terribly that game. It was really all my fault. Obviously when you lose, it's 99% your fault. Sometimes it's tough matchup. Sometimes you lag out or whatever. But yeah, either way. And then he goes for the a ghost on our drill. Pretty awkward defense. But I do mess up the skeleton surround on the ghost. And then I don't time the log right. So the goblins get a bunch of damage there because I didn't kill them. So both of us have pretty scuffed defenses to the drills. Mine got more damage because Fire Spirit is still probably one of the best value cards in the game. And then he kind of just goes Golden Knight at the bridge and taps the ability, which is pretty bad value because the Golden Knight just dies. That's a really smart cannon cart right there. I say well played. You might be wondering why. Because that cannon cart, when you do it in that placement, it'll stay alive and it'll walk away from the giant skeleton bomb. Whereas if you put it in the other side, it'll walk, when the giant skeleton dies, it'll walk towards the bomb and get frozen in place. So that was a really cool interaction that guy did there. And that's something good to know if you're playing a cannon cart. because Giant Skeleton is really strong. It's one of the most used cards in the game. And here's a good way to shut down Drill for just 3 elixir. You can get a positive elixir trade. You can go with the Fire Spirit and then the Log with that timing and take no stabs. It's a little bit hard. A lot of times you'll take a stab if you don't time it right, but it's just a really good thing to know. And that's, again, a good cannon card again there from our opponent, making me spend more on it and defending the Giant Skelly. So, but yeah, that's also a good way to shut down Drill, as it's really powerful and really used. And yeah, I might put that into a YouTube short, so if you're seeing this, subscribe, because I think it's a good tip. Check out my long form videos that I'm commenting on right now. Sorry if I sound a little dead there. I'm just kind of tired, honestly. That might not go into a short, but might as well. So yeah, he just goes with another Drill. I'm just going to queen the back, which I don't really agree with that play, but it does shoot the first goblin, so that's pretty nice. Then I just log. I kind of spent a lot of elixir there. That was a little bit weird. I fireball the Marcher, which was kind of awkward because he got a hit, but it proved to be a good play when he NATO'd there, and then the Queen gets a ton of value here. It's going to kill the cannon card. Archer Queen, super strong. Just definitely one of the best cards. I mean, I'm saying that like it's not known. It's incredible. Just gets so much value. And then I do take a Goblin Stab there, like how I mentioned. You got to get the timing right, or you will take a little bit of chip there with the Fire Spirit Log. We barely get a cannon down in time there to stop the Golden Knight. And yeah, just go Fire Spirit, just having the Queen counter pushing with our drills. It's so nice to have that counter push with drill. I'm just always fireballing Marchers because I just find them really annoying a lot of times, the Magic Archer. And the Ghost, he gets a kind of terrible interaction there. The Ghost goes invisible there and allows our Queen to lock onto the tower instead of the Ghost. I thought that might happen, and that was pretty hype when that happened. But yeah, either way. And there was a crack in a second ago. That was just my toes, my bad. My joint crack there. I don't know if that was loud or not. I might just be sounding really weird saying that now in video, but I'm guessing you probably heard that. That's just what that was. It's unfortunate that I missed the fireball on the E-Wiz there, so I had to spend the Skellies, or it probably would have gotten a hit, unfortunately, but it might not have. Maybe I didn't. I'm not really sure about that interaction, but either way, I just spent those Skellies anyway. It's not a huge deal. But I do still wish I could have hit the E-Wiz with that fireball. It would have been a bit more clean. And maybe my Giant Skelly would have stayed alive a little longer. I don't know. I was kind of... I panic placed my Giant Skeleton because I wasn't sure if he had used the Golden Knight ability there. And I didn't want him to dash onto my tower when the Queen was invisible. So, yeah, that's why I did that. He probably didn't, honestly, use the ability. I don't know. But he probably used the ability. And I was just being an idiot. But better safe than sorry. And, yeah, here... He goes with, like, a weird NATO. I'm not really sure what that was. And then we log. And again, I don't... actually, I might have had to go with that Giant Skelly. That was okay. Again, good fireball value here. That Magic Archer, though, it does get a lot of damage lining up our tower there. And then... that NATO actually gets rid of our Skellies. That was pretty good on his end. No, I don't know if he knew we didn't have log in hand, but if he did, really well played on our opponent's end. And then he doesn't line up the Marcher right there, though. And I just, like, kind of... I was a little bit too aggressive, I think. Kind of panic defending, but I just get that fireball down in time. And that's GG. Just, like, a very close dub there. And, yeah, I mean, drill versus drill, it's always going to be a pretty intense matchup. So, GG to our opponent. Yeah, hopping in here. I think 6 wins was actually my previous record in a Clash Challenge, which is pretty bad, I know, but... I've never claimed to be, like, the greatest player in the world. I just go cannon on this guy, Mortar first play. I just go cannon on that. But, yeah, like, if you guys, like, are kind of, like, you know, have experience with some sort of cycle decks, but you're just kind of struggling, like, you're not great, but you're just struggling to win the Classic or even Grand Challenges, I really think this is a great deck to play. I mean, it's relatively low skill, and, yeah, it's just a pretty good deck to learn. It's pretty easy and pretty, just, like, fun to play, honestly. You can just afford to be super aggressive with this deck, which is, yeah, it's good. Kind of an awkward, like, defense there. It was a little bit of an awkward cycle against that, like, Skellykin minor bats, but overall pretty solid. And, yeah, this is like a... Yeah, we kind of get shut down by the Skarmy again. I thought this deck had Skarmy there, but I was just a bit too aggressive there. I should have recognized the deck a little better. I knew it was, like, Mortar. Obviously, Mortar. I saw the Mortar, but Skellykin bait. He pulls out a Musketeer. I think he has Musketeer instead of, like, you would have Minion Horde in the, original deck. But yeah, I Fireball on the Musketeer. I wasn't sure if I wanted to, because I knew I was down Elixir. I wasn't sure if it was the right play or not. And I try to get a good Fire Spirit down, but it dies here. And I end up taking quite a lot of damage, which is unfortunate, to say the least. Yeah, and he gets a Mortar down. And then, yeah, that is a pretty bad Mortar on his end. We shut that down for just 3 Elixir there. And, yeah. So, we're going to go Drill here. Drill, Fire Spirit. Always good to, like, back up those drills. And I knew he was going to go Scar me there, so that's kind of why I went with the Fire Spirit as well. He tries to kind of, like, panic log because he realizes Fire Spirit's going to jump, but he doesn't actually hit. So that's a pretty good interaction for us there. Yeah, I was just going to log there, finish off that Musketeer. I kind of just do, like, Skellies. I tried to pull him to the other side, but I have to place a cannon there kind of awkwardly. I mean, the other tower kills, I guess, which is good. But, yeah, kind of unfortunate interaction there. I mean, we bait out the Skelly King with our Fire Spirit. Then we get a pretty good Fireball down here, but I don't really think we get any Goblin Chip, but still a solid Fireball. And then we go with some Skellies. Yeah, just kind of trying to get some good Fire Spirits down. I think I log here as well, trying to keep my Giant Skelly alive. And the counter push for 20 seconds here. I know I've got to just try to spam my drills. You know, I've got the Giant Skeleton tanking for a little bit, so I got to try to take... I kind of get a prediction Fireball down there, but it wasn't quite fast enough. And with 10 seconds left here, not really anything I can do. He's kind of just going to spam his cards into me trying to take my second tower. And yeah, that's a GG against this Mortar player. He played it pretty well, and, you know, you can't win them all. Sometimes people have a good deck, a good matchup, and, you know, just play better than you. So, yeah.